Welcome to the Good Intention Show, coming to you live on the UI Radio Network. The Good Intention Show is sponsored by the United Intentions Foundation at unitedintentions.org, a virtual community where you learn to create, track, and manifest your passions one intention at a time. Look for us on Blog Talk, Spreaker, iTunes, Stitcher, Player FM, and many more. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram under United Intentions and on Twitter at Higher Intention. Yes, this is the Good Intention Show, where you will meet people who live life intentionally and hear about things they're not telling you in the mainstream media. And now, here's the truth seeker, the snake charmer, a legend in his own mind, broadcasting live all over the universe, your host, Mr. Tim Ray.
Yes, we are back on air. A whole day has passed. What have you done in this last day that's going to make a difference in this world? Or a difference for yourself? Which makes a difference in this world, does it? When you focus on yourself and grow from yourself, does it make a difference in the world growing? Interesting question. Well, we're going to find out today. We have a great guest, Karis Molina. She is a true priestess in modern age, and she's going to share her thoughts and beliefs on how going within can change the out. Interesting philosophy. I happen to subscribe to it too, and I'll share my thoughts and beliefs on that. So welcome, WDJY listeners. Glad you guys are here. Spreaker and Facebook. Start sharing on Facebook. Get it out there. YouTube. Love you guys. You guys doing great. Enjoy it. Go to our Patreon page. Check it out. Patreon page at United Intentions Foundation. And check out our new website. A new radio website. urradionetwork.org. Yeah, it's a new site. New faces. New action. New everything. So we're going to have a good time today. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So I have to say a few things. I was on Lily McDermott's show this morning. She woke me up very early, which, wow, I know how these California people feel now.
What time did you get up?
7. You know, some people are like, early? Come on, man. I'm up at 5 o'clock every morning.
Yeah.
Which, you know, if I got to bed between 10 p.m. and, you know, and slept till like 6 a.m., I'd be fine. I'd get up at 6 or 5:30.
Yeah.
But I just can't seem to, I mean, I get home at 10 p.m., you know. I mean,
right.
I'm not thinking of sleep at that moment.
Right.
I had Daniel Brinkley over the last couple of days. We've been shooting the breeze about life.
You guys been having fun?
We've been having fun, yeah. He is something. He's cool. We hung out with Kim, and it's just amazing things. When you're surrounded by people from similar frequency, you could have conversations like I have every day on the radio, like we're going to have today with Karis. You know, you can't like have these conversations every day if you go to work, typical work, or if you just, you know, go to a sports arena, or you go somewhere where people are talking about whatever the common thing we talk about, regurgitating whatever the mainstream media tells us to think and believe and create their intentions for them. You know, war, politics, how much I hate Trump, how much I hate the Clintons, you know. I mean, it's just such propaganda.
Yes, sir.
You know, gun control, no guns, a lot of guns. I mean, you know, these setups, mind control, MK. I mean, this stuff is all phony and a waste of your time. And the racism and, you know, victimization of it, and everything goes down, you know, being a victor, being a victim, you know, women power, men power, gay power. I mean, you know what? Stop with the separation. Let's just focus on these 4 things. And I learned this the other day. You know, where are you born? Earth is the answer, right? Where are you born? I'm born on Earth, right? What are your politics? Right? Politics. Answer.
Human race.
Answer the politics is freedom. That's my politics.
I like that.
Freedom. Whatever brings freedom in the individual or collective, that's my politics. What's your religion? Love. Love. That's the common denominator between all of them. Unconditional love. Love's a religion, right?
Yeah.
You know, and there's one more out there I can't remember, but you know, but it's where you're born, what's your politics, what's your religion, and one other thing. It'll come to me. But let's just focus on what we have in common, and then dividing. And oh my God, they did this, and I have to share some of my thoughts on the bias show we had the other day. So it's just so much going on, and I just wish people would unite on what we have in common, and I think that's what the show's gonna be like today, and you're gonna enjoy it very much so. Talking about uniting, so I was in the midst of talking about Lily McDermott's show, and we were talking about this thing right here. It's called "Get Your Life Back Now" DVD series. It's also on the digital version of it. So once you sign up to get a DVD. And trust me, people don't have DVDs. People with chronic illnesses have DVDs, but once you get up on, you check out the DVD series, you have access to the digital version immediately, so you don't even have to wait for it to come in. And if you don't think you have a DVD player anymore, go check out your kids. It's called the PlayStation and Fortnite. They have DVD players. That's how they get all their DVDs. That's how they watch all their propaganda and mind control of killing people without killing people and creating that type of mentality, which is addictive in itself. So this has 6 DVDs. One fell out here. This has 6 DVDs in it, and it's all about integrative medicine, getting your life back. If you can see that here, it's beautiful, and it's all about showing people how they can heal themselves. You know, doctors are there to help us, show us how we could heal ourselves. Integrative medicine, the top doctors in the world. We're involved in it. We caught 21 hours of what they're telling us. How you can reverse all these things. Alzheimer's. Cancer's not a death sentence. It's not a death sentence. When you get cancer, it's a wake-up call. That's all it is. It's not a death sentence. Change your thoughts when you hear that. You can heal yourself from that. You can heal yourself without having to go through all these allopathic methods that doesn't work. You know how effective chemotherapy and radiation is? Chemotherapy? How effective it is?
Like what, 10%?
No, it's 2.1%.
Oh, wow.
Why would we do anything that has a 98% failure rate? I mean, that's to me insanity. It's barbaric. You know, we're being toxified every day from the sky, the land, the sea. Our minds are stinking thinking. Stop it. We got to wake up to this. We can't allow this to occur anymore. Detoxify ourselves. Get the right nutrition. You know what? The foods that we eat every day, about 80% of them, Wahid, 80% of the foods that we eat doesn't have the nutrients that we need for our body.
Yeah, that's absolutely. How are we still
That's
living?
Insanity.
No wonder why we're able to be controlled, huh?
Yeah, pick up this pen and eat it. That's about as much nutrition you're getting in the food that you're doing. You know?
How's it? Is it good?
Yeah, I tell you what.
Some salt.
If I'm an alchemist, so I could transmute that into like energy. Become a breatharian. You know? Come on. There's other options out there. And listen, but honestly, go to getyourlifebacknow.live, getyourlifebacknow.live. Dr. Mercola, Dr. Sinatra, Dr. Tennant, Dr. Cowden, all the 1% of integrative doctors that are only here in the United States are all on here telling you the wisdom and freedom of how you can get your life back in a healthy way without side effects and then change it forever and ever and ever and become that person that you always meant to be and learn what the secrets that you're not hearing when you go to your allopathic doctor. Because they're not allowed to, because Big Pharma tells you that you can't hear this because we got to keep you sick and not share our other aspect of being a human being other than chemical response is that we are electrical biological beings. We have electrical biological beings and there's solutions. There's energy fields around us right now. You can't see it. Doesn't mean it's not there. So because your 5 senses our bandwidth is limited. We can't, like dogs are hearing things all the time. Does it mean that what that noise is, it doesn't exist? No, noise is happening, but we just can't hear it because our bandwidth is much smaller than the dogs. Remember that. It's invisible. Doesn't mean it's not there. The microwaves, the EMFs, all these things are going on in front of your face right now from your computer. Well, he's being overdosed with all that.
It's not really funny. The more I learn, the more... The more I learn, the more
it's like man, we're gonna start rotating engineers out, man, just for safety reasons, you know. Or we send you on vacation to the beach where the negative ions from your feet will go in, and then you'll be fine again, and bounce all those positive ions build up.
Get one of those pennants.
No, seriously, we do got to get one of those pennants for you. We'll get that. I got you, man. I got you. In fact, you can be getting one of these. All right.
What is that again?
GetYourLifeBackNow.live. It's the first time ever captured these doctors. And on top of that, one last thing I want to say. On top of that, not only we captured for 2 days, get all these doctors, you have 25 MDs and experts coming to sharing their information for you. So for the price of one doctor visit, you get 25 in your home. You can watch it anytime you want. And these are the top docs. These are the top docs. Everybody knows Dr. Mercola, right? You know?
That's the doctor's doc?
No, Dr. Cowden is a doctor's
Dr.
doctor.
Cowden,
yeah, well, Mercola is too. I mean, I'm not going to... All these doctors are the doctor's doctors. You know, they teach them all. You know, they really do. Right. So it's just amazing how we captured this. And we also had the Doctors of Rock Awards, first time ever, unprecedented. We honored all these integrative doctors, and we shared their wisdom and shared and honored them in all the sacrifices they made. I mean, half of them lost their license because they're trying to heal people, not just keep them in symptom mode. And not only that, I can't even count how many are not here anymore. They just disappeared, murdered, gone, because they're sharing wisdom out there. And this is the seriousness of it all. So don't think people are looking out for your best interest. You have to look out for your own best interest, for your health. And I was just talking to Lillian today. She said, you know, Tim, there's an adage in the Bible that says, I'm going to mess this up, of course, but it was saying that that, you know, when you are healthy, you have a million dreams, and when you're not healthy, you have one dream. You know, and so how can we save this world, move this world? I don't say save it. There's nothing needs to be saved. How can we advance this world to another level, to leveling up, as they say in Fortnite? Let's level up. Let's level up. Let's raise this frequency and truly bring heaven on earth. Let's do this. But we could do it when we're healthy. When you're not healthy, you're not thinking of that. You're just thinking about surviving. And so take care of your health first, and then join me and Karis, and let's move this thing forward. Speaking of Karis, let me tell you a little about her. She's a true princess in the modern age. She believes that future of her human race will be determined by how effective we are as a people and connect to spiritual source within. I mean, don't we spout that every day?
Absolutely.
But she practices it every day. She has workshops, she has classes, she has a couple of books that are out, and you can catch her at Karis Melina at .com, CarisMelina.com, and the books I think she has is the Starseed Journal, and she has instructions of the Starseed. So we're going to find out what a Starseed is. Other than I think it's in a song. I know.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it is. It's an old 70s song. We'll find out. So without further ado, Karis, are you here?
I'm here. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. How's LA out there, huh?
It's great. It's cloudy. You know, it's a big behemoth monster, but I love it.
Yeah, chemtrails always flying strong in LA. When I was out there.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So welcome. I'm really excited about having you on. We have a lot to talk about. I'm looking forward to getting into looking at the micro aspect of who we are and how it affects the macro aspect of everyone else, the collective, right? But let's first start with Starseed. Explain that, because I've heard that a few times from a few different people who are in the know, and it has a lot of meaning to it. I know that, but I want you to share with everybody what it is.
Sure. Well, the term Starseed it describes what could be a few different things. Pretty much, the big umbrella concept is that it means that no matter how many times you've been here, and this is believing in things like reincarnation, multidimensionality, stuff like that. There are other things going on in other places. So if someone identifies as a starseed, whether or not everyone is one, some people think everyone's one, but it's kind of a source of fascination. So if you really feel attracted to the concept, then it's likely you're getting some kind of activation. It's time for you to realize that you've got this piece of you as well. And so it means that however many times you were here, you've been elsewhere, whether it be other dimensions, other planets, it will feel like another world. So thinking of it with our limited human consciousness, it essentially means that. And also, starseeds often feel like they have a really big mission to come and help shift things for some other timeline, or assist with some project that humanity is working on, or help heal the earth, etc. And so
most of us, Karis,
the concept,
Karis, but most of us are not conscious of that, are we? We forget this mission sometimes, most of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. It usually it will come back up. You'll get an activation, kind of like, I mean, I don't know your personal story, but I would assume that there's some time that you all of a sudden wake up to these concepts. You're like, wait a minute, all of a sudden this matters to me and that matters to me. And synchronicity is bringing about this book and this person, that documentary.
Absolutely.
And so there is a whole starseed awakening that can happen when you go along your life and you don't think about a thing, and then maybe you'll see a UFO, or maybe you'll hear something, or maybe a book will fall off a shelf in front of you, or you'll meet someone, and then the rabbit hole opens and you fall right in.
Well, and even on a scientific level, I mean, I've done some studies on that. The human body makeup, the actual chemicals in us, our makeup is the same makeup you find out in the stars. So, how can that be? If we're from Earth, how do we have star, DNA in us, right? Yeah,
well, they say that life came from a meteorite in the very beginning. They say that something smashed into Earth and it just started from there. So who knows?
Sure. Well, I want to get into that. I want to get into all that, as well as what you believe in reference to going within and how that can make a difference. We're going to take a quick break here. We're talking to Karis Molina, and she is making a difference right now, and she's all over YouTube. You go check her out. Also check out her website, karismolina.com, and we'll talk more about her books as well when we get back, and see what we could do about leveling up humanity. What an easy thing to do, huh?
Sounds like it, huh?
We'll be right back.
Good day, planet Earth. Michael Don Miguel Litton here in Roswell, GA. Join me every other Friday at 6 p.m. for the Ride the Vibe show, the show where creative folks have the opportunity to share the genesis and power of their creativity, where they can intend having their talent being expressed all over the planet. Find my show on WDJY 99.1 FM on the United Intentions Spreaker channel, iTunes, Stitcher, and many more. You can also find my show on social media on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram as United Intentions, and on Twitter at Higher Intention. Jump on the wave and ride the vibe. It's a cool way for getting the creative juices flowing. Cheers to a groovy day, and remember to always ride the vibe.
All right. We are back with Karis Molina. What a great name. Karis Brown Molina. I'm sorry, Karis Molina Brown is her full name. Although Karis Molina sounds pretty cool, though. But Karis Molina Brown. So you need to put that in there. These people just call you Karis? Is like you're like Madonna, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Well, let's go with Karis. That does. It sounds very, Greek.
Very Madonna-like.
Madonna-like, yeah.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Ooh,
well, you have a great following. What do people love about you? Don't be shy.
I think that I'm authentic and real. I think that's what it is. I mean, we all have ups and downs, but I consider my work, because I work on the internet. When I was a little kid, my job did not exist. Most of my work is through the internet, which is amazing, but the internet can be such a collective of the worst of humanity too. Yeah. So I feel like, especially on YouTube, I mean, I don't even read comments anymore because it'll just, you'll be crawling by the time you're done, you know?
I learned that fast,
and so, yeah.
Just ruthless.
And so
People are just ruthless, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, they got to get out their aggression somewhere. I've learned that they would never say the things to your face that they will type on a screen. And so I kind of feel like it's a little bit of a personal mission to help offset that by putting a bunch of light and healing frequencies and activation frequencies. And like you were saying in the beginning, more about what we have in common and also why we're here. What's the why? Yeah, there's the what. Yeah, there's the all the stuff that happens, but you can have all the what's in the world. Everyone who's experimented with manifestation and different abundances and can know you can be rich as Solomon, but if you're not happy, it doesn't matter. So the why is so important.
Why is very important. In fact, you're absolutely right. I see that all the time. A lot of people with money and they don't have that abundance consciousness, and they're just not attracting that, that energy. And so they attract people who just want to take them and use them for their money, and that's what they get, because that's what their mentality believe that they have to have. Only people are going to like me because I have money. Only people are going to like me because I have this. Only people like me because I have that. Not like me for me, for you, like being Karis. People like you for being Karis because you're authentic,
And do you like you?
Yeah, exactly. I like myself, probably 70% of the time. Being honest.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll go with 70%.
70's good, though.
That's not bad, right?
Yeah, you're working on it.
I'm working on it. I'm getting there, right? But it is. It's that the not enoughness, as Daniel Packard says all the time, is a epidemic. We're just all feel not enough, and everyone varies in percentages, really. Some more than others, and that's the journey of waking up to this power within. And speaking of that, what a great little segue into my next question. So, what does that mean? Working on within. If we work on within, you'll be able to affect the out. What's going on with that? That seems crazy talk.
It does on the surface. And then if you think about everything we've currently got, if you think about all the tech we've got, if you think about all the creations that people have come up with the world over that we now use, from really metallic, plasticky stuff to nature stuff, what we've done with plants, what we do with our waterways, et cetera, et cetera. It all comes from ideas in our heads. It all comes from that person wakes up that morning and gets an idea, or is sitting at a desk trying to problem solve. And so if in your free time, for instance, rather than always going to what's broken and what do I need to hone and what do I need to fix, and let's talk about stuff that's wrong. And I like to think of it as beautifying the inner spaces, because when you beautify inside of you, this is not a visual thing. It's with your emotional state. It's with, are you feeling better because of your thoughts, or are they bringing you down? And of course, the human condition is in a certain way. And I'm not about pie in the sky spiritual bypassing. This is real stuff. So you got to go through the muck when it comes up. But when there's not muck right there to deal with, are you doing something that is going to make you glow, that is going to make you create good things for the world? Or are you doing something that's going to add to the problem? And so I think that if we make it a way of life to find your own unique pattern, your own unique inner language of making yourself glow, and when you meet someone who has a glow, everyone will define it a little differently. Yeah. But if you do that, then you draw in the people and the experiences, and also you come up with the ideas that will heal the planet, that will help people, heal the illnesses, heal the land, create cool stuff. And so it seems like a woo-woo spiritual concept, but then if you apply it to everyday life, it makes everything better, from career to home life to relationships to your work, everything.
Yeah, I'll even step that up a little bit and tell you, through Scalar Energy, I think that's really, the Scalar Energy basically is the energy from the sun, the stars. It's a light. And it's not like it has no time or space to it. It's instantaneous. So, like electrical energy, AC energy has like point A to point B, but scalar energy is instantaneous. There's only point A. So, as you said, and I believe, and people are finding out, thoughts are scalar energy. So, when you have these thoughts, as what she's talking about, as you have these thoughts, these loving thoughts, it's instantaneous everywhere. So I think we're now connecting how the collective actually communicates, and where science is catching up to this, and a lot of people are researching. In fact, I'm having Dr. Bruce Lipton come on, I think, in September, and we're talking about scalar energy and how that actually affects us. And what you hit on, like you said, is not woo-woo. Science now is starting to explain everything what you just said. Karis, science is starting to explain that. And then you mentioned something that I find fascinating, spiritual bypassing. I call a lot of it, I don't know if this is the same thing, but Teal Swan calls it, and I concur with her, is denial-based positive thinking. But when you say spiritual bypassing, are you talking about, like, I don't want to feel the pain, so I don't want to work on myself, I just want to go right to feeling happy and joy?
Yeah, or maybe let's not talk about it because we're all one. well, we're all one, so therefore nothing can ever be wrong. Yeah, but what about when something actually is wrong? What about when something's going on that you need to deal with? What about when there's an interpersonal problem in your life?
The shadow
to actually
side.
work with it. Exactly, the shadow work. I love that you touched on that energy because that you called out breatharianism in the beginning, because when we're talking about these types of energy, the concepts that breatharians use, sun gazing. I've been sun gazing for 8 years now, so you definitely do notice a difference. I've heard a theory that there was Cro-Magnons and then there was Homo sapiens. Now we're Homo sapiens sapiens, and we're moving into Homo luminous, which is our light bodies are becoming activated and we're glowing. And like we say, there's something about the light that comes out of people's eyes. I had experiences right when I started sun gazing of looking in the mirror. I would get out of the shower, the bathroom would be foggy, and I'd look and I couldn't see anything but the blurriest outline through the fog. But right where my eyes were, there were these concentric glowing circles. And I was thinking, what in the heck is that? So I would experiment with it and block one eye out and block the other out, and they would go away and come back. And finally, I asked an author who wrote about such things. I went to a book signing and asked them, and they said, well, the eyes don't just absorb light. They also emit light. So as you're charging up light inside, and the way I've always felt sun gazing worked is these photons go into your glandular system and then feed your body in a similar way that food feeds your body. It's just like food is combustion and the solar is more free energy type of electric. Yeah. But they end up doing a similar thing. And then over time, the breatharian concept is that you build up your inner light, bringing it in from the source of all light, whatever you want to believe that is, and you build up your inner light. So rather than needing to get nourishment from the external world, then you're pouring nourishment out and you're feeding the external world with your presence. So those channels are still open, but rather than needing stuff to validate you, stuff to entertain you, stuff to feed you, you're using that same energy to push out, to validate, to love, to shine. And there's an amazing thing that happens. I always tell people who work with me, you never know who you're inspiring. You never know who you walk by and give a cursory smile to on the sidewalk or in the grocery store, and seeing you really present behind your eyes lights up their whole day and gives them some crazy epiphany that will change their life. All we can do is keep on keeping on and do it if we believe in it.
Yeah, you touched on so much there. I mean, great stuff, Karis, and belief is critical, isn't it? Belief in like, for example, the breatharian you're talking about. I was talking to Danny about this yesterday, and he said there's experiments done. The actual English did experiments a long time ago, not too, like maybe 6 years ago, where they had this gentleman from India. He says he doesn't need to eat, and not only doesn't he eat, but he doesn't, have BMs or urinate.
That's crazy.
Well, at least, and they put him in a room where he couldn't do anything, couldn't leave, double lock, and they really wanted to prove him wrong. And he went like 27 days without eating, breathing, pooping, or drink, or urinating.
Yeah. Breathe?
Not breathing. I mean,
right.
But only thing he needed was a window with light. Wow, that was the only thing he needed.
There you go.
So whether that's true or not, I mean, go check it out. But if that's the truth, wow. One, I don't want to give up eating. I enjoy food a little too much, but I mean, good to know I have a plan B, right? You have a plan B. So you believe in that? You believe that to be true?
I've been experimenting with it. I feel like it's a calling. In the research I've done, I've heard that the subset of human population that does it, there are about 50,000 people, give or take, that are able to do this. But you think if the yogis have done it, if you look back at, I mean, even reading the book Autobiography of Yogi, he talks about things like teleportation, telekinesis, and telepathy like it's normal. Yeah. And my thought with all that stuff is, if they've done it, if anyone's done it, then it can be done. And if it can be done, then there are a million different ways to get there. Right. It's just finding the one that works. And so things like breatharianism, I love the idea of it because I like, especially with all the travel I do, I like not being chained to some. I mean, you're on the road, you're grumpy, there's nothing to eat. Yeah. And so I love food and I love eating, and I will always eat stuff because I like it. But I like not having to if I don't need to. And now after about a year of doing it, I can go long periods and I never get headachy and I never get shaky. But then I also eat when I want. It's not like this is a full-on focus of mine. But I just like to use all the You can call it maybe bio version of free energy that we have. Because I think in the studies that I've done, just what's what I'm looking for, anecdotally, I think that the human digestive system was kind of a backup. And then we all just kind of forgot. So it's not that you can't eat, it's that it's supposed to be for a different thing than what people generally use it for, which is the only source of energy you get, and addiction and various types of addiction. But if you take it back and like, okay, well, when I'm eating, I am communing with my reality. If I go into the forest and there's a lichen growing on a tree and I take a piece of lichen and eat it, then I'm now connected to this whole thing, to this whole forest. And if you think of eating like that, it kind of changes the game of it, rather than, oh my gosh, let me just nosh till my tummy's full and my serotonin is flowing, and then I'll pass out. You know, which is what I think a lot of people do. But I just like having all the tools and all the colors in the paint box.
Sure.
You know?
No, it's brilliant. I love it. When we get back from break, let's start talking about this magic. Let's talk about how it can be used for evil and it can be used for goodness, if those are the right words. I learned from evil, a good definition of evil was what did Michael say? Aggressive behavior? Like, you know, he called it aggressive behavior, something like that. You know, and we all get caught up into that at any given time. Evil Ways of Wahid. That's the next book I'm writing. So.
I like that.
We're talking to Karis Melinda Brown. And that's who we're talking to right now. And you can reach her at karismelinda.com. Also, we'll talk about her books, too, when we come back. Again, if you want to call in, if you're one of her folks who likes to watch her, call 678-495-4345. 678-495-4345, and we'll get you on the air later. So we'll be right back and talk more about not eating food and looking good, huh? That would be nice, wouldn't it? That's the ultimate weight loss. Become a breatharian. There you go. We'll be right back.
I'm Siobhan Strawn, founder of We Life Foundation. I'm committed to blessing the less fortunate, eliminating hunger in kids, and restoring faith to battered souls. Last year, we hosted our grocery giveaway where we blessed almost 300 families. We visited various high schools to kids on the lunch program, as well as held our annual Backpack Give Back event for back to school in the Baintown community. Every event, we open up with a word of prayer and distribute hot foods to persons in the inner communities who are not mobile and are in great need. Families all over the Bahamas are in great need. Children are forced to go to school hungry and lacking the basic tools they need to succeed. We Life is an acronym for We Live in Freedom Everlasting, and our foundation is geared toward doing just that, setting persons free, mind, body, and soul. We would like to continue our efforts to be a voice of encouragement and a helping hand, but we need your support. Learn all about ways you can give back by visiting www.welifefoundation.com or connect with us via Facebook and Instagram at We Life Foundation. And remember, we don't just live, we life.
All right, so much coming on. We Life, love it. We are talking to Karis. I'm just going to call her Karis. I could go through Melinda Brown, but, you know, Karis is like Madonna. And she is author of a couple of books, the Journal of the Starseed, as well as the Instructions of the Starseed. And before we get into the, Karis, before we get into the specific, about being specific about the magic and manifesting your intentions and being in the flow of this energy that we're in. Tell me about what's the difference between the journal and the instructions of the Starseed books that you have out there?
Sure. Well, the Journal of the Starseed book was the first one I wrote, and it is a spiritual memoir because when I was a teenager, young adult, I did not believe in anything spiritual. I was an agnostic atheist, somewhere in there. I would argue all my friends to the ground about why God couldn't exist, that kind of thing. Yeah. And then I started having all these really intense experiences. And I thought I was going crazy. I was in college getting my degree in psychology, and I thought I was experiencing the onset of either multiple personality disorder or schizophrenia. I was hearing voices, have knowings. And then these hallucinations started coming true. So I thought, okay, well, I guess I'm not crazy, so let me see what else this could be. So then I found, because I was deep in academia, I was in school forever. So I would go and study. I know. That's the matrix I woke up out of. Yeah, it was academic one. And so I would study what scholars had recorded about shaman. And they would travel to Africa or to Aboriginal tribes in Australia and talk about all this stuff. And I was reading it and I would go, oh my gosh, that's what I am. That's what's happening. But here in the US, there's not this. Everyone goes on a walkabout when they are about 20 and 21, when your frontal lobes are activating and when your intuition is coming online, or when you're losing it and getting stuck in an institution, depending on how you deal.
Yeah, we throw drugs on you and then put a straitjacket and put you in a mental hospital. That's how we deal with that. Yep.
I really believe that one of the things that I'm doing here is a beginning of a civil rights time for the mystic. Because we've been stuck. We've been either having to hide, pretend like we're not like that. But everyone's got some great aunt or grandmother or someone or grandfather or whatever that kind of knew the more subtle frequencies. Yeah. But usually just keep it to ourselves because we don't want our friends to think we're crazy. We don't get stuck in an institution. So then the book is all about what happened and how I found out this stuff was real, how I got real world validation, verification that it was going on. And also there's some extraterrestrial stuff in there because the whole starseed concept. Right. But that was a good 6 or 7 years after my initial spiritual awakening. So I had a whole time of understanding how to, for instance, impact weather patterns or manifest things out of thin air or whatever, that whole rabbit hole you can jump down to. Right. And then I had some pretty intense experiences with ship in the sky. And so it scared the bejesus out of me. And I was one of those people in my bathrobe in the middle of the night researching ancient Vimana and going nuts down those alleys. And so Journal of a Starseed is all about that.
Wow.
And then Instruction of a... It was fun. It was scary and weird, but fun.
That's wonderful. If you have your books there, pick them up, show us if you have them handy. But
oh, you know what? I don't have any by me.
On the next break, we'll have you get them, okay? So what was the instructions about?
Well, after I got used to the sequence of meditating and during my academic time, part of what I would do for work was I was a medical transcriptionist, which meant I could just type and type and type without needing to look at the screen. So I would transcribe my meditations. So Instruction of a Starseed is experiences that I had, kind of a continuity of what was going on in Journal, and also transcription line by line of the conversations I would have with my spirit guides, and many of them were extraterrestrial. So they were teaching me about things, I was learning about how stuff worked, and I just wrote it all down and put it in the book.
Now how do you know those extraterrestrials were ones working for you? Because one thing I people just a lot of people in the new age and, in the awakening to the woo-woo, and I don't want to say woo, that's just such a negative connotation to it, but just awakening to the we're more than 5 sensory beings, we're multi-sensory beings, right? Yeah. One thing I think a lot of people override very quickly is that there are a lot of groups out there, and we live in this kind of Luciferian world, power brokers, who are using this this understanding. And when I say for evil, I'm talking about satanic pedophilia, I'm talking about very torturous, life-changing, unnecessary suffering for humanity by using the same energy that you're talking about that you use for light. So, I mean, that always has to be addressed, in my opinion, be brought up, because a lot of people, especially different sects, are so scared of that, they don't explore what you're exploring.
Absolutely.
And I think that needs to be addressed. And I'm not saying labeling or just saying, because everything happens for a reason. We learn through pain, we learn through love. But everybody kind of shuns and jumps over that, like, oh, don't worry about that part. But it is something to be concerned about, because many of these people, aliens included, are very deceiving, and they're very clever, and they're very ungodly. So I think that needs to be looked at. In addition, maybe you could share some insight on that.
Absolutely. Well, in the beginning, especially in the beginning of my realizing I was a contactee, because there's the abductee and the contactees feel like we're more a part of it, where the abductees are, they come and kidnap me and I can't do anything. Yeah. So it's a really scary thing. And first, also just because your body shocks out. It's such a paradigm shift that you can have these extreme fight or flight. So you just fear whatever's going on. But then my thing is always look around what's actually happening. Are you actually in danger? Is anything hurting you? And sometimes that's a yes. Just like multidimensional, you've got demonic activity. You've got a lot of negative entities rushing around. But my question is always, how honest are they with their agenda? What is their agenda? Will they tell you their agenda? Will they tell you why they're working with you? Will they tell you what they want from you? Are they offering you anything? Are they trying to inflate your ego by having you work with them? Are they telling you they'll give you power or money or fame, etc.? That's the stuff to watch out for.
Right.
And on the other hand,
you hear that, Hollywood? You hear that, LA? You hear that, LA out there? You hear that?
Well, here I am in LA doing this,
Hey, listen. Hey, Jesus always hung out with all the, the prostitutes and the people with no money. So you know what?
You're in the right spot.
You're in the right spot. All right.
And you can go into the darkest places and find the brightest lights. And you can go into the brightest places and find some gnarly stuff. So it
goes both ways.
Everywhere.
It is duality, isn't it? You're right.
Yeah. And so I think that the main thing that we need to think about is, how does it feel? How do you feel? Because humans are powerful, powerful, powerful beings. That's why they're all wanting to use us as battery.
I know. Matrix, hello.
Because we're so strong.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, right? Because we're so strong and we're new.
I love our
and
energy.
We are a conglomeration of a lot of different things. So if you can find that, and that's why things like meditation are so important. And I don't mean opening your mind to stuff can come in and mess with you, but gentle things like transcendental meditation or learning Reiki or things that are not at all religious, just, tech. Of biotech. In
your instruction book, Starseed, do you share this information? Because I do think there needs to be more instructions on how, like, you want an out-of-body experience. It could take, if you're just going unprepared, it could take you in places that you may not mentally be and emotionally be ready for. So, I mean, there needs to be like more Karis instructions out there sharing this, especially being a contactee. And I know the difference between the two. One's with anal probe, one's without, right? You know?
Very much.
But my point being is that, there needs to be more information sharing on these experiences. Like Thomas Campbell does a lot of instructions on out-of-body experiences, but you have such a unique perspective of life because of your experiences and because of your awakening at a young age. I mean, you said you were in college when this is occurring to you, and you accepted it, and you now living it. I don't know how old you are. You look like you're 21 years old, but you have a lot to share right now with humanity to help guide through this three-dimensional world that we've never given any instruction book for. It's like, here's thought. You can have thoughts and feelings the rest of your life, but I'm not going to tell you anything about it. You can figure it out on your own. Just learn this useless math and other things. Don't worry about developing telepathy. Learn how to use technology, and here we are. We could be probably communicating on a telepathic level, but we have to use technology because we have limited information given to us at a younger age. So, boom, there it is.
Yeah.
So how else do you instruct? This is fascinating. You are just a fascinating person. What else are the experiences you have that you think mankind and womankind needs to hear at this point?
Okay, well, to answer your earlier question, I do tons of instructing on various techniques, and more, I feel like I represent a certain paradigm that's coming. So we can touch on a million different topics. Okay. And I have hundreds of free videos on my YouTube channel. Right. So much information. You can I've touched on so many things over the years. I've been doing this for quite a few years now, so it's built up. But as far as what you need to know, I think that, so I've been getting a lot of messages and emails and texts and stuff lately from people who are having multidimensional awakenings, who are having these crazy dreams, and they'll describe it to me. I'm like, okay, well, you were seeing a real place. Sometimes dreams are just your subconscious going crazy, but sometimes, like in any shaman work, you start to recognize various places, like going to cities. In this dimension, you go to LA, it feels a certain work, it feels a certain way. Well, there are other dimensions that you can recognize because what the people are like, what the physics are like, things like that. And so once it's happening, you can either first, a lot of our raising indoctrination would say, this is evil, this is demonic, be afraid of it, drug yourself out, numb yourself out until it doesn't come anymore. And really simple answers to that, I'm always like, call angels. Call the archangels.
Amen.
Call the big daddy archangels. Like
Michael!
Yes. Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, come stand around me.
Hurry up.
Protect me. Like, if you're going to bed and you're freaked out, ask him to come, stand around the bed, be like, get stronger till I can hear you. If I'm not safe yet, I need you to come in more.
But
and so there are pretty simple things like that. Mm-hmm.
Isn't it pure intent, though? Don't you have to have pure intention when you do call on that?
But do you know if you don't have pure intent? Like, you
Not
know,
really.
we're all combing things out of our...
Yeah, sometimes I'm sure it's motivated or tainted by it. But I mean, even in it, but I don't see it as a. Is it a desperation feeling, or you could be like, listen, I know you all exist. I need your help. I mean, how intense does the calling?
I think it depends on what's going on.
All right.
I think it depends on what's going on. Like, if you're dealing with something that's scaring you, you know, if like your kid is having night terrors and waking up with scratches, which happens, you know, stuff like that, then and they'll come, you know. But here's the thing, right? If you've got stuff around you, like a lot of people who don't have healthy relationships with alcohols or drugs, they'll get riders, they'll get like parasitic entities coming on them.
She opened the door, boy. I didn't. Listen, we're gonna take another break, and we're gonna get into attachments and detachments, and what does that mean? All right, the new hospital. It's not gonna be called hospitals. They're gonna be called detachment centers. Yeah, what do you think of that idea?
I like that, man.
All right, we're talking to Karis. Check her on YouTube. Check her everywhere. You check her at karismelina.com. She's an author. She's a priestess. She's a modern day age, a shaker and mover. She's changing the world. We'll be right back. Hello, my name is Tim Ray, founder of the United Intentions Foundation, where we help people like you untap their true potential and consciously create the reality with their power of their intentions. We're a 501c3 nonprofit foundation, and we need your help. Imagine a world where kids can be themselves and just create. A world where businesses thrive under mindful thinking. An education program that teaches people to tap into their mind and create their ideal world with no hesitations. That's what we are doing at the United Intentions Foundation, and that's what we are accomplishing. Each time you donate to this movement, you help fund our Imagine If program, where we talk to children in schools and teach them the benefits and powers of creating the reality they want to experience. With each donation, you also help fund our online community, where people interact and support each other through our social media portal. Here you can create intentions, show gratitude, and connect with people all over the world. Our world is suffering from a crisis of perception, from childhood to adulthood. We have to shift our perception now and begin empowering all with the power of our intention so we can live in a positive future. But this can only continue to happen if you continue to donate. So please, click a recurring or a one-time donation. Now is the time.
Nice moves, man.
Come on, man. You got
like
you got the jam. You got my jam.
I like that right there.
Tell you what. Listen, I'm taking you downtown Atlanta. We're gonna hit the clubs. We're gonna a little tongue and groove or something, man. I'm gonna put you in that DJ spot.
Let's do it, man.
All right. We are back talking to Karis. You catch her at karismelina.com, and she. Wow, you go everywhere. I'll tell you what. So before we get into the attachment issue, or the new, I call it spiritual medicine, but and this is so freaky for so many people who are hearing it, especially on radio. I'm sorry, guys, if you haven't, you shouldn't be used to it by now in these conversations. Sometimes they go in this direction, but truth seekers follow the truth, you know, and defining our reality. You learn this once you get past the matrix of our 5 sensory type of experience, and you understand we're multi-sensory beings. This is what's going on, you know, some very bad, some very good, but it's all individual growth, you know. And I think, you know, like Michael Monk comes on, we go deep like this all the time, and he talks about, you know, loving your demons. You created them. He believes we created them, and he goes that far, and some people think that they're separate entities, and, and there's probably a good argument involved in that too. But even the fact that we're having a conversation about that and arguing about that is fascinating because most people don't even talk about it.
That's right.
It's like a hush hush. You don't bring it up. You don't talk about it. It's a crazy ant in the basement, as Ross Perot used to say. Everybody knows about her, but nobody says anything about her. So, Karis, you are an amazing woman. You have great energy. Listen, I want you to come back on the show a little more often, if you're willing. And
love to.
All right. And so, tell me about your traveling. Where do you go? What do you do? You just like travel for fun, or you trying to make a living out there?
Both, yeah. Sometimes it's just for a personal thing. Sometimes I'll feel these weird calls. I mean, I don't know if you've ever heard of Angel Oak. This is a great example. It's a huge oak tree, 2,000 years old. I would say sits on Johns Island, which is outside Charleston. And I've lived all over the U.S. pretty much. I've bounced all around. And one day I was sitting out here in Los Angeles, and I saw a picture of her on my computer. And these people who are listening and have computers, look up Angel Oak, because, oh my gosh, reached through the computer, grabbed my heart, and I said, where are you? I have to come see you.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Wow.
and I found out she was in Charleston. So it took me, I don't know, maybe 6 months to a year before I was over in that part again, and I swung by and saw her. So that, for instance, was not for work, right?
Sure.
However, I also do workshops, retreats, tours of various places that I love, and mostly there's a whole subpopulation of people like me who are just kind of traveling around. And right now, my huge project this year is to build an eco house off grid using Cobb and passive solar and earth friendly technologies and stuff. So I'm kind of on the hunt for the right land, and so that's the main drive behind my travel at the moment, and doing research into various types, which aligns with all this other stuff.
There's a lot of land in Atlanta, just so you know, in Georgia. So just throwing it out there.
I've been thinking about Georgia lately. Funny you should say. It's been in my head for like the past week. I'm like, I gotta go to Georgia.
It's the new Hollywood. But what I'm trying to do, since I live here, I don't want to be unconscious Hollywood. I want the new Hollywood here in Atlanta to be conscious media. That's why we're starting with the conscious media.
That's right.
We want to bring conscious media into the unconscious media. That's our mission here. So
beautiful. People are praying for it. They want it. I've had so many conversations of why can't there be a good movie that's really good, that makes you feel all the feels, that doesn't include the world ending or someone dying, or like in normal life that doesn't usually happen, and we feel all the feels. So you would think logically it should be able to be done.
Well, thank you, CIA and propaganda, and us manifesting your intentions. So stop watching them and start creating your own intentions is my motto here. So you want to say something, Wahid?
Yes, we actually had a Facebook question. Someone wanted to know, what is sun gazing?
Oh, sun gazing. This is fun. This is one of my favorite life hacks of them all. Okay. And it's extremely simple. You can get deep into it. The guy that you were talking about with breatharianism, his name is HRM, and he recommends a certain type of way. However, I don't subscribe to that way because they came up with it thousands and thousands of years ago, and our world is different. The environment is different. The sunlight is different. So the way that I think you should
Big time.
Yeah, I hear you.
The way that I recommend sun gazing is you want to get the sun when it's at the horizon. So it's either dawn or dusk, because when it's at the horizon, it's filtered through all that atmosphere between you and the sun. Versus when it's up high in the sky, there's only that little mile or so of atmosphere. So, and we're attracted to looking at beautiful sunsets and sunrises. So our body is naturally like, hey, let's do this. And essentially it's really simple. If you're wearing glasses, you take them off. You don't want glass or plastic or anything in between you and the sun. And you just look at the sun for as long as it feels good, and then you stop. And they'll tell you growing up, don't look at the sun, don't look at the sun. But if it hurts your eyes, don't do it. It's easy. It will be only a couple seconds at first. And especially, I tell people, set your alarm clock for the time the sunrise comes up. Just look online and see when it is. Get out of bed, go outside, look for that rich golden light somewhere, put your head in it, turn around, look at the sun for as long as it feels good, and then go back to bed. And after a few days of doing that, you probably won't want to go back to bed anymore. You'll probably be so charged. Same with sunset. When I see a good golden sunset, it's the same way as I used to feel 10 years ago when I was a omnivore, ate everything, and when I would see like a good steak dinner in front of me, I was like, oh, okay, now I don't eat meat and haven't in a really long time. But when I see that golden thick sunlight, I'm like, yes, I'm about to get really nourished because my body's learned how to eat this, drink this, yeah.
And appreciate that. Your cells actually appreciate it because they don't photosynthesis. Right. But I mean, you could actually transfer. So she's saying you transfer belief and consciousness from being this, like when you get that, like a nice juicy, T-bone steak or something. Oh, yeah. I'll get myself hungry right now thinking about it. But you could transfer that feeling to like a nice juicy sunny day, I mean, that's amazing. I think that's wonderful, and wow. I don't know if we're going to have a lot of time to get into the detachment part of the entities that are around us and everywhere, but we got 5 minutes. Yeah. But we could at least tease everybody about it, right? You want to tease everyone about it?
Sure.
So tell me, tell me your perspective of how really we're in this three-dimensional world with our five senses. We only see in here what we see right now. Like, we think this is solid. I'm looking at you right now. But what's really going on around us?
A lot. It's well more populated. There's well more stuff going on, and both from this place and other places. I often liken the Earth to an island out in the middle of wherever that's pretty primitive, and they think since they can't cross the ocean, no one can cross the ocean. Some people can cross the ocean, and it's not because they're necessarily smarter or better or stronger, but they maybe have just been around longer and understand stuff. It's like when you talk to a really awesome 3-year-old, you're not smarter than them. You just got more of this world. You understand it a little better. So I would say, first off, don't freak out. I feel like that's the first thing to tell everyone. Don't freak out. You never need to freak out. It's okay. And there's always something you can do. You're never disempowered. Humans are strong. There's a lot going on, but also if you're not into it, you don't have to follow that path. There are enough of us doing it, more all the time. So if it's something that you're not into, don't worry about it. And if you are, there's lots of resources. You're not alone.
Wow. Well, look at that. So all these things going on around us. I talk to exorcists. I've talked to priests. I've talked to gurus, and everyone come from a different perspective, even a different religious perspective. They all agree that there's these energies that are around us, and some are not so much like, say, evil, but some are just past people who are not here anymore, and they're trying to think they're helping us, but they're not, or they're not going on their own, or there are people who are just feeding off an addiction of yours. If it's food addiction, or if it's sex addiction, or if it's a drug addiction, and so anytime you have, let's just say, any type of addiction, which anything could be, you got to figure you're going to have some entities feeding off on it, perpetuating it, right? Yeah.
They're hungry. They're just hungry. They're just trying to live.
Yeah.
And so the idea is how to not be a food source. But people do that too. I'm sure everyone who's listening can think of a vampy friend or two that you've either had now or have had. So it's just like people are nice and not nice and all between. Entities can be too.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I listen, and it's invisible, so it makes it a little more challenging to figure that out. But there are ways. I think the more sensitive we are, and you know what, we should just do like a clear, broad cross. If we just get everybody being breatharians, then we don't have to worry about it because they'll starve. They won't feed off us anymore, right?
That's what the breatharians say. They say they're doing it for the earth. They're like, if we don't eat anymore, we've got all these resources.
That's heaven on earth, baby. There you go. So real quick here, we have a couple minutes left. This conversation, I guarantee you, will be continued another time, another place, another world. But Karis, tell me a little bit real quick what people get out of your workshops in 2 minutes. Workshops, what you're doing there in your spiritual retreats and classes.
You'll feel seen. You're able to see other people who are like you. So many people feel so alone, and we always meet in really beautiful spots too. And you learn how to both do some multidimensional stuff of your own, connect with the Earth Grid, connect with some of your guides. And usually it's nice to get a good mirror because other people can really see you. If they can't really see, then they can't really see you. So bringing those veils down in between us is really powerful, and that's what they get.
Wow. Well, that's wonderful. Well, you're doing great work. If you have a second, hang on right after the show. We close it out, okay? And this is something that is a just great. Isn't it refreshing to have a conversation like this with somebody who's not only in the know, but practices it as a daily basis. This is what you're, and I'm sure you surround yourself with people like this. You probably have more people around you believe what you believe than your typical, like, let's go watch the sports and see what the Falcons are doing on Sunday. You know, that's like the ultimate part of their week, right? So not that it's against that, but there's much more to life than just, you know, sports,
sport and play.
The gladiator distraction, I call it. You know. So anyway, I really appreciate you coming on, and hang on for a second. And listen, you guys, check her out. Go to KarisMolina.com, and check out her books too, the Starseed books. She's working on a trilogy. I'm sure she'll get a third one out there. Who knows what we'll call it.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on. We'll see you in a little bit. Take care, guys. Hope you enjoyed the show.
You have been listening to the Good Intentions Show on the UI Radio Network. The Good Intentions